Now that the inevitable bitter breakup between Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders is finally over, many in the NFL world are starting to speculate just where Derek Carr will land. Well, Dan Orlovsky, ESPN analyst, as well as Colin Cowherd and many others have began to speculate that my Carolina Panthers just may be the landing place for Derek Carr, and I have some thoughts about that. We're going to get into that right after this.
I'm from the foe. You dig?
Welcome to The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad. This is a Carolina Panthers fan channel. Please do me a favor by hitting the like button and please make sure you subscribe as I am on my road to 1K. Trying to get this channel monetized. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get to Mr. Carr. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, Derek Carr is finally a free agent, free to sign with whichever team he chooses, and he is the hottest free agent going into this 2023 offseason. Dan Orlovsky, along with many others in the sports media, have started to speculate that my Carolina Panthers just may be the perfect landing spot for Derek Carr, and this is where they think he will be going into next season. Now, I'm going to give you all the good, the bad, and my final conclusion about this potential landing here of Derek Carr. Now, I'm going to start with the good. Now, I want to speak on the fact that Derek Carr will inevitably and immediately be the most talented quarterback within our division, barring none. In 9 years in the NFL, Derek Carr has went to four Pro Bowls. He has passed for 35,000 yards, and he has a 65% completion rate. He has 28 fourth quarter comebacks as well as 33 game-winning drives, showing you just how valuable he can be when he is the projected or the provided trigger man for your team, and just how much value he can bring using his arm. As I mentioned before, he would immediately be the best quarterback in the division with the retiring of Tom Brady as well as Drew Brees a few years back. I do not believe that the Falcons will be bringing back Marcus Mariota, and I don't believe in Desmond Ridder at all. So there is no QB competition whatsoever in our division. So we could pretty much be a shoe-in immediately with our young nucleus of players that we have right now, and adding Derek Carr, we immediately become the favorites within our division. And now I want to speak on the fact that although Derek Carr has only been in the NFL for 9 years, which by quarterback standards is relatively short, he has had 5 different coaches over that time span. Now, in his rookie year, Dennis Allen was fired just 4 games into his rookie year, and then Tony Sparano went 3-9 for the rest of the year. Since then, Jack Del Rio got 3 years, John Gruden got 3 years, followed up by Rich Pisaccia, and now they're in the Josh McDaniels era. So there has just been constant turnover when it comes to who is in charge of this ball team, and Derek Carr has been in the middle of that, not knowing if he was going to be traded in years past, not knowing if he was going to be favored by the new coaching staff as well as the new offensive staff that the new coaches would inevitably bring with them. Derek Carr is not going to have to face that if he were to come to Carolina and be under the stewardship of Frank Reich. Frank Reich has built out a great staff with the most recent addition of Jim Caldwell, Iro Evero on the defensive side of the ball, and just a myriad of Super Bowl knowledge and long-time winning coaches within this league. I believe this is shocking. Like 3 of the potential candidates for the overall Panthers head coaching job are now just scattered throughout the staff, just in various positions. So we would definitely be the best coaching staff that Derek Carr has had. So with that being said, I think we could expect the best Derek Carr that we've ever seen if he had a coaching staff that was able to believe in him, back him, and invest in him the way that I truly believe that the Carolina Panthers coaching staff currently would be able to do. I believe we would get the best Derek Carr that we've seen in his 9-year career. And the final thing I want to speak on in terms of it being a positive is that with him being a free agent, it would not actually cost us any of our current draft capital to actually go out and get this guy. We can actually sign him outright. It wouldn't cost us our ninth overall pick, none of our second or third round picks that we got back in the Christian McCaffrey trade. It would cost us absolutely nothing except for cap flexibility moving forward. And whether or not that's a good or a bad thing, we will get into a little bit later on in the video. But it has to be seen as a relative positive that we, being in the top 10 of this year's draft, could go out and get a QB and not have to trade out of that spot and or draft a QB or still draft a QB if one is available. That has to be seen as a relative positive in this potential signing of Derek Carr, man. So with that being said, we are going to move on to what I see as being the potential negatives of this signing. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is how efficient I believe Derek Carr could be in the modern day NFL, meaning 2023 moving forward. As we saw in the Super Bowl just a few short days ago, quarterbacks with the ability to use their legs and actually scramble out of the pocket to either extend plays or to pick up first downs and or touchdowns are at a high premium in this modern day NFL, as we've seen with Jalen Hurts as well as Patrick Mahomes. Now, in 9 years in the NFL, Derek Carr has never rushed for more than 140 yards within one season, and his inability to be mobile may hinder him a little bit moving forward as these newer offensive coordinators like to install things that involve a lot of motion, a lot of sliding the QB, and a lot of, pretty much like I said, a lot of mobile traits that Derek Carr so far has not been able to show. It may be a bit of a struggle to string him along with newer NFL offensive practices, but that, as I said, that is an if. But now to speak to the stats, now these are just absolute facts, and we're still speaking on efficiency here. In 6 of his 9 years in the NFL, Derek Carr has thrown 4 double-digit interceptions. That is 66% of the years that he has played in this league. He has thrown 10 or more interceptions. Now, being a guy that had so much talent around him, you would believe that he would be able to just dish out the ball to these guys in an effective manner, especially once he was able to go out, or the Raiders went out and they got Josh Jacobs to take so much pressure off of Derek Carr. You would think, or one would think, that play action game would just be deadly, and Derek Carr would not necessarily be a liability for an offense. But that has not shown to be true whatsoever, as he has never thrown more than 32 touchdowns in 1 year, or he's never thrown more than 30. Now that I look at the stats, and with him, with it being 16 or more games, that's throwing less than 2 a game. That's not what you would want in a franchise guy. You would like for him to be able to spread the ball out a little bit more efficiently than that. Now, the next thing I want to move into is the fact that I don't truly believe that Derek Carr is what they call a force multiplier. Like, adding him to the equation does not make the whole greater than the sum of its parts, which is what you would want in a franchise guy, which you would want in your quarterback. You can see it in Mahomes, you see it in Brady, you see it in Rodgers. These quarterbacks being so talented that the guys around them actually improve their game solely by lining up on the same side of the ball as Derek Carr. Now, in 9 years, Derek Carr is actually 63-79. So he is actually 16 games under 500, and that cannot be blamed on lack of talent around him. And just looking back over his time in Las Vegas as well as Oakland, he had the likes of Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and as far as this last year and the year before, he also had Devontae Adams, who is widely renowned as top 1 to top 3 wide receiver in the entire league. So he's always had offensive weapons around him, but there has not been, other than the one standout year with Jack Del Rio where they won 12 games, where Derek Carr has been able to elevate his offense in a sense where anybody feels like he is he is the reason why this team would be able to win a Super Bowl. He's just never reached those heights, and the players around him have never necessarily reached their heights because I don't believe Derek Carr is able to help them get there. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about is his potential contract, or the potential contract that we would have to pay him if we were to go out and sign him as an unrestricted free agent in this offseason. According to SpotRack, which is one of the most accurate websites in terms of tracking contract information for all sports, SpotRack says that he is projected to get a 3-year, $110 million contract with $75 million guaranteed and $50 million at signing in a signing bonus. Now, that is not bridge quarterback money, which is what me and I know a lot of other Carolina Panthers fans are hoping for. We are hoping that this is the year that we actually go out and get a guy. And if we are investing this much money into a quarterback, that hinders us in future years of going out and signing potential free agent talent to fill out this team. And it takes away a few other things and a few other advantages that going out and drafting a quarterback would actually provide us with. So, man, in conclusion, do I think that we should go out and make this deal for Derek Carr? I am going to have to say no. I am on the side of this that says no. As I mentioned earlier, getting Derek Carr does ensure that I believe that it does ensure that we win the division and we make it to the playoffs. But with the division being so terrible as it is right now, I don't believe that it would take a veteran to go out and actually win the division. I think it would take competent QB play, and I think you could get that from a first-year guy, good enough to actually get us to the playoffs. And if we could get playoff experience for a first-year quarterback, building that confidence moving forward into the future, I would love that way more than I would just getting there knowing that we just inevitably were gonna win because we had the best team in the division, because we just simply had a veteran who had been there, I guess, kind of done that. I think that we are a strong enough team to be able to make that push with a young guy without having to go out and sign this guy as the quote unquote bridge. Now, another point I want to make is, as I've said in a few of my other videos, with the coaching staff that we have in place now, Frank Reich bringing in all of this Super Bowl winning talent, I don't believe that we will be picking in the top 10 anytime soon. So the ability to go out and get a rookie quarterback, or the cost that it would take to move up in the draft to get one, it would be a lot more in future years when you were not in that 9th spot, top 10 overall, as we are this year. If Derek Carr does pan out and we do not get a quarterback this year, but we do not plan on retaining him after those 3 years, how are we going to feel having to trade up to the top 10 from 21 to 25 simply because we didn't go out and get a guy when we had a top 10 pick, which I believe we definitely should do, man. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up right there. I say no to this entire Derek Carr ordeal. I do not believe that we need him, nor do I fear if he goes to the Saints, man. I really don't care. That's not a good enough reason for us to prioritize signing him just so he doesn't go to the Saints. I actually believe he fits with the Saints. But I believe that in the years coming, we would immediately be better than them, because Derek Carr, he is not all that in a bag of chips, for lack of a better term. But leave your comments down below, man. What do you all think about this Derek Carr topic? I will be sure to get to you all then. Make sure you like the video, subscribe. I am almost to 1K. With that being said, I'm Jamario Rashad. This is the way I see it, and I'm out. Peace.